Hi everybody, and welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to model the roof for the fourth building. We are also going to work on the balconies for this building. So, let's start. So, this is where we were last time, and we're going to start by creating a tube, and we can hide some of these buildings so we can work better with this tube. Okay, now we're going to rotate this. We want it to face this way, like that. And now we can just modify this inner radius. Let's hide this environment just for the preview, and we're going to have it like that. And now we can come to the object properties, and we're going to change the rotation segments. Make sure that the tube is selected, and we're also going to change the slice because this is going to be a roof tile, so we're going to have it like that. And now we can come back to the object properties and change the rotation segments to 12. We don't want this to have too many polygons because this is going to be far away. And we can go back to the slice properties and try with a different value, maybe 250, starting from 110 degrees to 250. That seems to work. So this is going to be our tile, and we're going to start modifying this a little. Just make this an editable object, and you should remember when we worked with these kinds of objects, you remember that when we place a subdivision surface object, we're going to have this problem. So we're going to have to optimize this tube before we can go ahead. And this is going to be affected only when we use a subdivision surface object. And we don't want to have that problem, so we're going to select all of the points, go to Mesh, Command, and Optimize, and we're going to just apply it. So now when we activate the subdivision surface, you can see that this is different now. So let's do that again. I just undo it, and let's do it again. Okay, so now this is better, and we're going to have to cut these edges. So we're going to just select the knife, and we're going to go to the edge mode and select all of those edges and select the edge cut tool and just cut it like that. And now we're going to select all of these points, and using the scale tool we're going to push them to the sides. So now this is looking better. So this is going to be our tile, and we don't need this subdivision surface at this moment, so we're just going to delete it. Now we're going to create a cloner. So let's go to MoGraph and Cloner. And now we can place this tube as a child of the cloner. And we can see that we have a problem because it is not going the way we want it. And we can fix that very easily. So to do that, we're going to take out our tube and select it. And we're going to go to the properties, and selecting the axis mode, we're going to reset the values for the rotations. And this is going to just reset the values without rotating the object. So now we're going to select the cloner and we're going to start modifying some of the values. So now this is going to give us the result that we're looking for. And we're just going to have something like that, which is going to be our roof. So now we can select the whole thing and just scale it down, but it is not going the way we want. So we're just going to scale this tile first and select the whole thing. And now we're going to decrease the distance from each tile, and selecting it, we're going to move it to the left and place it there, just on top of this building, like that. Okay. And just there. And now we can see that there is a problem, and this is because we had the axis mode on, so we're going to turn it off, and we can just move this, but I'm going to undo everything. And now with the axis mode off, we can see that we're moving both the cloner and the tile. So it is important to check that you have this axis mode off and just turn it on when you need it. Okay, so I'm going to just continue working, and I'm going to scale these tiles down a little bit more. Even more, like that, and just move this one, move the whole cloner to the left. So now I have to decrease the distance again. Looks like 24 is going to work for me, and we can now increase the count for these clones, and 70 should work, so we're going to use 70 for this. So I'm going to make a quick render, and I really like it, so we're good to continue. And we can rename this cloner to roof, and we're going to place a copy inside of the trash group, so we can come back later if we want and modify it. And now we're going to make a copy of this roof and just move it there, something like that, and we can make a render. You can see that this is working really good. So we can just adjust the position and duplicate it again, like that. And I'm going to flatten this tile. So I'm going to flatten them all so we can stack them better. So now I'm just going to have to move them down, and also this one. And this looks better. So now we can take the three of them and duplicate them and just move them there, like that. So we're just going to repeat the process. So we're going to select them all and duplicate them and just place them where they belong, there, like that. So now let's select them all and place them inside a new group. So this way it's going to be easier to manipulate this roof. So we are going to rotate it, select the group, and just rotate it a few degrees like that. And we're going to try to have them in the center. Now we can come to the top view, and here we're going to duplicate this group, and we're going to come to the coordinates, and I'm going to try to just reverse this, but it's not working. So I think I'm just going to use a symmetry object, so we can delete this one. And I'm going to create a symmetry object, and I just have to move it here in the middle, and I'm going to place this new group and rename it to roof. And now we have to change the mirror plane, and we just have to find the one that works, which is going to be the XY for this case. And now we have this roof finished. So we can come back to the perspective view, and we're going to modify this building. So this has this triangular shape at the top, and you can notice that when you have lots of polygons on your scene, your computer is going to slow down. So we can just turn off the cloner for some of these parts of the roof, and this way the computer is going to have an easier job. So we're just going to do that for a second. And now we have to select this building 04 object, and on the edge mode we're going to use the edge cut tool to make a division on these edges. So select them all, and let's just make a division. And now we can come to the point mode, and we're going to select all of these points, and now we have to just move them up. And now I'm going to check that it is all okay. So I'm going to turn off all of this, and we can see that we have a problem. So I'm just going to undo that and make sure that I'm selecting all of the points this time. So now it is okay. And I'm just going to make this invisible for the preview and let it be visible on the render. And we can see that this is looking pretty nice. So I'm going to make another render from this view, and it looks really good. So now we are going to rename this to roof and place it inside of this building 04 group. And now we can just continue with the rest of the building. And we're going to make a few more divisions on those polygons at the top of this building. So we're going to select all of those edges, and using the edge cut tool, we're going to make those divisions. And at this moment, I'm going to take a few seconds to step back and make a few renders with all of the buildings together, because it is always something good to do, just to step back and see everything together. And I'm just checking that it all goes well together, and it looks really nice. So I'm happy with it, and now we can continue. So going back to our building, we are going to extrude those polygons at the top, but they are too big, so we're going to make them smaller. We can try making another division, but I don't like it really, So we're going to select the point mode, and we're going to use the loop selection to select all of those points, and we're just going to move them up, and something like that should work, maybe a little bit more. And we're going to do the same with those other points. And now we can select those polygons, and you can see that I am selecting some extra polygons that I don't need, because to me this is easier just to select just all of those polygons, and after that just unselect the polygons that I don't need. But you can work the way you want. And now I'm here on the right view, so I'm going to just place those points where they have to be. Okay, so now we can come to the perspective view, and we can see now that we have to place another line of these tiles. So we're going to do that, and I'm going to modify the whole roof. So I'm just going to move it, and now I can make a copy of this tile and just place it there, just so this roof is complete. Okay, so that looks good enough, and I'm going to take the whole roof and just place it. And now this looks like those tiles are floating, so we're just going to have to move this into position like that, and we can turn on the visibility for everything, and we can make a render. And now this roof is fixed, and let's make a render, and this looks really nice. So we're going to move on and make the balcony for this building, and to do that we're going to recycle some of the balconies from the first building. So we're going to use the ones on the second. These ones they're good. So we're going to take those balconies, so we have to find them, and this on the second building, and they have to be on the third floor, and we can make a copy of those balconies, and we can just move that balcony to this other building. And here we're just going to place this balcony in position, and we're going to modify it a little so it doesn't look the same. And to do that we're going to come to the front view, and first we have to fix the axis. So selecting the axis mode, we're going to fix the axis, and now we're going to place this balcony in the middle. Okay, and now let's come to the perspective view, and let's make a quick render just to see how this balcony integrates with the building. And it looks really nice, but it looks exactly the same as the other balconies, so we're going to modify that. So we're going to start by hiding the circles, and we're going to select all of these bars, and we're going to make them shorter and just move them down again, and we're going to move this down there. That's okay. And now this balcony looks different from the other balconies, and that is something good. So now we can see both of the balconies together. This balcony and the balcony on the building O2, and we can make a render. And we can see that these balconies are now completely different. So now we're going to go to the front view, and here we're going to place this balcony on the first floor. Okay, and you just have to place it in the middle, and we're going to duplicate this balcony and just duplicate it a few times and place each copy on each of these doors, just the same that we did on the other buildings. So this is going to be all we have to do. Okay, and now we can come to the perspective view, and we can rename these balconies. And as I have said before, it is always a good habit to have everything organized, and part of that is to rename all of your different objects and also place the objects that belong to one group inside of a null object. And here we're going to place this balcony set group, which contains all of these balconies inside of this building O4 group on the third floor. And now let's make a render. And I like it. So all we have to do now is get a little bit closer, and I just want to make sure that none of these tiles are going through the wall. So this one is going through that wall, and we're going to fix that. So we're just going to move this on the x-axis and maybe a little bit more there. So now that's okay. And let's make a quick render. And now it is okay. So none of these tiles is going through the wall. Okay. So we can now make another render from this view. And we can see that this is looking great. So this is all for this part of the tutorial, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.